record button. And I'm going to stay seated right here, and I'm going to read to you this morning. So I'm going to start seated here, and then after we are finished the seated part, I'll go back to my spot on my blanket. But sometimes I think maybe you hear me better when I'm sitting a little closer to the microphone I have. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a comfortable seat to begin. So whether you're seated in a chair or you're sitting on a block or you're on a blanket or however it is that you take a seat that feels easy. Easy what? Easy for you to connect to the ground. You might even notice how does that tissue under your pelvis, how do the two sides compare? How do they meet the support beneath you? And then you lengthen your spine up towards the sky. And allow your attention to drop in. As you allow your attention to drop in, deepen your breath. And you're welcome to begin either the balanced inhale and exhale, and just the samavriti, that balanced breath, or with your ujjayi breathing, where you have the tip of the tongue behind the upper two teeth, a hollowness at the back of the mouth, and tone through the throat, the back of the throat. So for the next few moments, make your breath smooth. You're welcome to stay with the 1-to-1 ratio of your ujjayi breathing, or simply the balanced inhale and exhale. Some of you might want to transition this to box breathing, where you'll inhale for a count of 4, 6, whatever is comfortable. Suspend the inhale for that same amount of time. Exhale the same length. Suspend the exhale for the same length. And you keep going like that. Whichever breathing you're practicing, working to make your breath smooth. That work isn't the right word, but how can you smooth the breath out? Like you're smoothing out all the creases. And I'm going to share with you this morning again, David White. So you're welcome. If you're doing the box breathing, you can stay with it, or you could go back to the 1-to-1 Ujjayi breathing. And this is called waiting to go on. It must be we are waiting for the perfect moment. It must be under all the struggle we want to go on. It must be that deep down we are creatures getting ready for when we are needed. It must be that waiting for the listening ear or the appreciative word, for the right woman or the right man or the right one, or even the right moment just to ourselves. We are getting ready to be ready and nothing else. We are getting ready to be ready and nothing else. Like this moment, just before the evening light arrives, working by the kitchen window, sensing a deep down symmetry in every blessed thing. The way that everything, unbeknownst to us, is preparing to meet us too. Just on the other side of the door, someone is about to knock, and our life is just about to change. And finally, after all these years rehearsing behind the curtain, we might just be ready to go on. Of letting go of any control of your breath. And honoring your presence this morning. Bring your hands in Anjali Mudra. This morning, I'll chant Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu. So together, may we be protected. Together, may we be nourished. May our practice have great energy. May it illuminate the darkest places. And may we not hate, may we not dispel, may we not argue with each other. You're welcome to join me. Take a deep inhale. Sahana bhavatu. Sahana bhunaktu. Saviryam karavavai. Tejasvinavarim tamastu. Ma Vibhyashavai. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. With your next exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart. Release your hands and lift your gaze. Great. All right. So we are going to work this morning with some abdominal toning. So I would like to bring into Fridays that we do have some abdominal toning that's happening. I'm just going to look up here one more time and check that the microphones, what's going on with them? Okay. You guys, I did just mute you, even though you've been muted to me anyway, but it sounds like you're hearing each other, but now you might not. If you have a question, you can either, you can try and unmute yourself. I'm not sure I'll hear you. I'm so sorry. It just doesn't, we'll see what happens. You can give it a roll. All right, I'm gonna go back to my spot back here. And we're gonna begin by coming onto all fours, please. Coming onto all fours. So you're coming onto all fours. Check that the wrists are underneath your shoulders, knees under the hips. Connect back into the breathing you were just working on with so much focus. Take a deep inhale, and with the next exhale, press up into cat. Inhale, cow pose. Broadening across the collarbones as you go to cow pose. And again, go paying attention to your breath, the movement, shaking cat. And cow. And one more time. And just noticing, how are you moving your spine? And can you stay focused on all of the spine, and where in your body is it a little less clear? Great. One more time to cat. And then to table. If it's okay with your wrists and arms, please step to plank. If you need to be on your forearms, that's fine as well. You can be on the forearms if the wrists are not happy like this. But if you are in plank pose, can you please lift the abdominal organs up to find front of the pelvis, front of the spine, rib cage finds front of the shoulder blades, and then can you lift from the front of the throat, lift all the way up, base of the skull, and even the back of the eyes. Exhale, either puppy or downward facing dog. Now noticing if you're in downward dog or puppy, where is your breath? Where do you feel the breath moving? Great. And then let's go ahead and come back into plank. If you're in dog, come back to plank. If you're in puppy, walk back to table. And then those of you in plank, exhale and begin to bend the knees. When you bend the knees, lift the belly up toward the spine and lightly touch the knees down. Great. Then walk the hands back. You're going to want a strap. And you're going to take the strap this morning. We're going to use it for some feedback as we're working. So I'm going to lay my strap across my mat. I'll show you here. Although I just drank my green juice I made this morning. I don't know why I drank it right beforehand. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel that juice. Okay, so lying on your back in a moment. I'm taking my strap and I'm kind of going, okay, it's flossing all the way down to the pelvis. It moves freely, and it moves freely all the way up. You know, this is all about, depending on your shape. I'm going to bring my strap up towards, you know, the upper end of where it easily flosses, right at the bottom of my rib cage, in the back of my body. That's where I find it, flossing easily. I'm going to take a deep inhale, and with my exhale, I'm going to pick up my, just my heels, slide the lower ribs down, and the strap, I'm holding the strap with the strength of my abdominals. So I'm keeping that as feedback, okay? So go ahead and come onto your back and place your strap down there. I'll wait for you. And once you lay on your back, put the strap and do a little flossing action from the bottom of the rib cage to the top of the pelvis. And then can you tone by sliding, you lift the heels and you'll feel transversus abdominis hugging in, right? Hugging in from the lower rib cage, sides of the body, pubic, the ASIS, the two hip points, everything hugging in. There's the deep transversus. You can feel it. It's that deep, deep layer. So right then, your strap should not be sliding. You can take the arms and rest them down. And then with your next exhale, can you pick up the feet? So now you've got thighs vertical, and either the lower legs are dangling, and can you check your strap again? If it tugged, bring a little tone, a little more tone. What happens if you lift the shins parallel with the floor? Is the strap, can you keep it from sliding? Take one of your hands. Good. Exhale. Let the lower legs dangle. Bring the feet back to the ground, heels, and release. Release the holding. Rest. Those warm us up real fast. So remembering, like, once you pick up just the feet, there's a greater demand, right? You're asking more of your, more tone through the abdominal area. When you take the feet parallel to the floor, again, you're asking for more. So figure out, where is it for me, so that you know you're working within your own integrity. Because in a moment, we're going to add toe tapping. The toe tapping you do might be with just having the shins, the feet dangling, not lifting the shins parallel. All right, take a deep inhale. Exhale, lift the heels. I just keep my toes down for a moment. I'm going to check my strap. Okay. And then I'm going to lift my feet from the floor. Check the strap again. Okay. And then I'm going to go, what if I lift my shins? So they're parallel. Can I still keep the strap firm? Okay. And then with your next exhale, toe tap down. Right foot, up, and then left foot. And then you can take one of your hands and you can check your strap as you do these toe taps. I know they're a lot of work, or at least for me they are. Okay, really, I know you might be like having a little shaking, it's okay. Inhaling up is in the upper chest, isn't it? The back of the rib cage. Exhale, lower the feet, lower the heels, and release. Deep breathing. It's so great after doing that work, how you feel the breath, just the urge of the breath to come in. It's great. Can we do one more set of those? One more time. You kind of, without any, when you're just laying restful, the strap should be free. And again, the breath can't be in the belly when we're needing tone there. The breath has to be in the lungs at the back body. You should feel the breath at the between, back into the floor, the back of your lungs, back of your rib cage. All right, so there's the strap, maybe flossing easily. Exhale, go ahead, lift the heels. Add the tone there. You've got the strap, it's not going anywhere. Relax your neck. Exhale, lift the feet to where they work for you. Lift the shins if that's the right step for you. And then begin 1 foot at a time. Toe tap. The breath is still moving. Okay, last one. And then we lower the feet, we lower the heels and release and rest. Take the arms, reach them towards the sky. Deep inhale, exhale, take the arms overhead, palms up to the ceiling. Draw the breath in deeply. And so you feel the breath now. It's not, you don't feel it so much towards the back of your rib cage. You feel where the breath has moved. Without that tone in the belly right now, you feel a lot of freedom in the belly and some freedom in your breath. And then can you, with the feet are still in the same position on the floor, let's just move the pelvis a little. So inhale, take the pubic bone towards the ground. So now the low back has a bit of an arch. Exhale, lift your pubic bone up. So the low back gets long on the ground. And do a few more of those. So you're moving the pelvis. And you might notice a difference between the left and the right. Excellent. All right. Very good. Okay, go ahead. Bring the knees up, the arms down. Can you take the hands behind the knees? Pull the knees into the chest. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Lift the head. Make yourself into a little ball. And then we'll release that. Roll over to one side. You can move your strap out of the way. And I want to take an upper back opener. So if you'll take your blocks end to end, put them on your yoga mat, and then take one of your blankets on top of that. And when you do, take the rolled end of your blanket away from you on top of your stack. Let me make sure this isn't going to make any noise. Okay. And I'm going to use a second blanket, 2. Okay, 2 blankets. on top of my blocks. Now, if you have a third blanket or a pillow or something along those lines, you might put it at the top so that you have a little off ramp for your neck. You might like a little more of an off ramp right there as the head is going that way. So when I come over this time, we're gonna put the shoulder blades are definitely up on top of the blocks. I'll start with my hands behind my head. Exhale, I'm going to lift my pelvis up. I'm gonna lift my pelvis. I don't have to take it really high, but I am picking it up. Elbows are toward each other so that the upper back is broad. I shift my hands a little. Now this feels fine on my neck, other than my barrette. And so give yourself the kind of support that works. Then you're gonna take the arms. So the top of my head is actually touching the blanket. And I'm gonna reach my arms out. And yes, do I feel this in my upper back? I do. So you can join me. Again, the hips are not on the floor. Hips are not on the floor. Top of my head is touching the ground. My arms are wide, like I'm reaching toward all the way out from the center of my chest, out my arms to my fingers. If you need to have your hands behind your head, that's fine. Now I might find myself able to maybe lower my hips slightly. But if that's not as important as I really want to increase the space of an opening at the front of my chest between my diaphragm and the transverse colon. All right, and then I'll bring my hands back, put them behind my head, my elbows toward each other, chin to the chest, lower my hips, straighten one leg, and reach both arms forward to sit up. All right. And then we're gonna come back over. I'll move the blankets out of the way, off to one side. Move my blocks towards the top of my mat so I know where they are. Great. And then let's go back to cat. And cow pose. So as you keep going back to cat and cow, and see if you know, before where you were kind of paying attention to where's my spine moving, where does it feel more vague? Is that different now? Great. And then you go cat, table, left leg back, right arm out to the side. Pick up the back leg, take the right arm forward. And again, where's the abdominal support for this table pose with extensions? Exhale, lower the hand and the knee. Inhale in the middle. Exhale, right leg back, left arm out. Pick up the leg, reach the arm forward, and make sure you're lifting those abdominal organs up to find the front of your spine. Exhale, lower. Good. Inhale in the middle. Exhale, either puppy, where you walk your hands forward And take puppy pose with the hips high, or downward facing dog pose. Great, this is wonderful. Inhale, come forward, plank. Exhale, lower the knees. And now, you're gonna bring your chest down. Can you bring your chest to the ground before your belly hits the ground? So this takes a lot of strength in the arms, but can you, and sometimes I lift my feet from the floor. Can you bring the chest down and then the belly? And then come up on your forearms. So now I've got elbows under the shoulders, wrists are as wide as my elbows, palms are on the ground, legs are straight out behind you. All right, so inhale here, and as you exhale, lift your pubic bone toward your navel. Keep pressing down into that wide part of the forearm. And now, can you start to peel the tops of the thighs from the ground? There's a lot of strength in those abdominals there. And then slowly bring the tops of the thighs down, the pubic bone. And there you're kind of relaxing, like slumber party pose. Inhale again. Exhale, lift the pubic bone towards the navel. Now, that doesn't mean that my pubic bone is leaving the floor right now. I still feel my pubic bone really light on the ground. But I do have some tone in the belly. And that tone in my belly, especially where I feel it between those two hip points, is going to support my lumbar spine. As I now press into the forearms and start to lift at the top of the breastbone, still keeping the tone in the belly, Sphinx pose, top of the breastbone. I'm keeping my, I'm not letting my chin be the leader here. Chin is not leading. All right, I can lift my eyes. Great, and then I'll release. Let's come down to the ground, take the elbows wide, and rest the forehead on the backs of the hands. So that deep breathing, feeling the breath in the low back. And then let's slide the hands back so they're along the side ribs. We're going to press up to all fours. Again, with your hands, connect to the index finger knuckle, the finger pads. Press down firmly into the ground. Can you lift the pubic bone away from the floor? And with your next exhale, can you push yourself up? Great, and then walk the hands back and come into sitting. So just, if it's okay, you'll sit back on the heels. You might sit on a block. Reach the arms forward, clasp them. Inhale, draw them towards you. Exhale, reach them away. Inhale, lift the arms. And then exhale, take them wide. All right. We're going to come up to standing. You might want to come up to standing without using the arms. So you can practice just coming to standing without using your arms. Take the feet wide apart. And let's take a block at the right outer shin. So we're gonna do that series where you go from warrior two, right? And then you're gonna go rising. Now, when you transition to side angle, I'd like you to lift up out of the hip joint for that moment of transitioning the pelvis to point backwards, okay? So that you're not trying to come to side angle with all that weight in the front hip. All right, so right foot out, left foot in. You can look at the feet, are they heel to heel about or thereabouts. And then inhale, take the arms out. Exhale, warrior two. So how do you reach into the hands? Can you reach into your hands from both the front of the heart and the back of your heart? All right, relaxing the back arm, turn the front palm up, rising warrior. So where the back hand touches the back inner thigh, tone right there. Tone above the back inner thigh. And then your next exhale, you come over, you straighten the front leg slightly so you can reposition the pelvis and then come down to side angle, Parsva Konasana. And then Nancy, Lynn, Nancy, on the back leg side, low belly, on your back leg, low belly. What happens when you draw those abdominal organs up to meet the front of the spine, especially on the left side? What happens through the whole side waist on that back leg? All of us, deep inhale. Exhale, let's turn towards the ground. Turning over towards the ground. Take plank pose. Or you could come onto all fours. Exhale, if you're on all fours, you'll go puppy. If you're on plank, you'll go downward dog. Inhale deeply. We're going to exhale. If you're in downward facing dog, you're going to step forward. If you're in puppy, you're going to walk your hands back and come up to Uttanasana. So everyone, Uttanasana. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Arms overhead. Exhale, hands back in front of the heart. Second side. So you can step the feet wide again. Let's move the blocks over towards the left, outer left shin. So your left foot's going to turn out, right foot turns in. And then when you're ready, inhale, take both arms wide, and exhale, warrior two. Know that oftentimes our warrior two is a lot shorter than it could be. So how is that length on your warrior two? And is your back foot slightly turned in? Back foot has a slight turn in. That's it, yeah. And I I can't tell exactly, Ellie, but I'm curious about the right adductor, right above the right knee. Just make sure that's really toned, strong. Great. Yeah. Did you feel that allowed you even to come a little deeper into that warrior two? Good. Yeah, great. And are you reaching to the hands from the heart, both the front and the back of the heart? Great. Okay, rising warrior. So as the backhand comes down, it finds right above the knee, and it's like a little reminder to tone that back adductor right above the knee. That's it. Good. Inhale deeply. Now the exhale, you're going to transition to side angle. So as you transition, take the weight up and out of that hip joint, and then come over and down. Okay. Yeah. Great. So you find that the right outer heel. Have you found the right outer heel? Did you lengthen through your left inner thigh all the way to the left knee? Mm-hmm. Great. Yes. Yes. That looks lovely, Bella, with just a lot of light shining through that right side. Thank you, Lise, for letting me know. Doing good, everybody. Deep breathing. Yeah. Great. And then there you are, you're in that side angle. Inhale deeply, and you're going to exhale. You're going to turn towards the ground again. Lift the back heel. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Arms overhead. Exhale, hands back in front of the heart. Good. Release the arms, let the arms dangle. Shine the palms forward. Again, like as you dilate the palms, kind of like continuing to gather information. Or sometimes we just go out and we stand in the sun and we go, oh my gosh, feel it. Wonderful. And then release that. All right, we're going to go through another sun salutation. And on this one, we're going to want to have our blanket handy, just so that we can put a little support under one of the knees, because we're going to take the lunges, and at one point we're going to put a knee down to open the front of the hip joint. So if you'll come to the top of your mat, bring your hands in front of your heart. Let's take a moment to find the weight. How is it landing in your feet? Can you feel the weight in your heels a little more than in your toes? I am, reminding myself, like as we move on, as we go forward, what is it I want to take with me from this time that we've had for more reflection? What am I taking with me? And I'm not going to remember that unless I'm able to stay rooted. If I'm always moving forward, I miss what I learned. All right, let's release the arms. Inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, forward fold. Bowing forward all the way down, and then your inhale halfway. Exhale, let's step the right foot back. Right foot back for a lunge. And I don't know, again, Nancy Lynn, and whether you experimented with when you find that left heel, the front heel, and you also lift the deep abdominal organs right in front of the sacrum on that left side. When you lift them up and turn the pelvis a tiny bit right, does that make a little more space in the left hip joint? Let's lighten the hands. And inhale, come upright. And when you, as you come upright, arms in any position. And then where's the gaze? Where do you want your gaze? Can the gaze be either straight ahead or up towards the sky or up at a 45? Then let's inhale the arms out. Exhale, bow forward. And we're going to bring the right knee down. So if you want a blanket, you could throw it down there. Lower the right knee. Left knee comes forward of the left ankle. So when I have my blocks or my hands forward towards my front foot, I can notice that it puts, you know, I'm having a little, I get more slack in my system. When you take your blocks, you make them tall, and then you back them up even more. And even as you lengthen through the right inner thigh, the right thigh, the quads, but can you keep a little tone from the right pubic bone to the right inner hip? And from there, you keep a little tone, even rising up towards the space of the heart. So even though the psoas on the right is lengthening, there's a little tone in it to support the lumbar. Keep that tone. Some people need more than others, right? Because they have a different shape, a greater curve in the lumbar, and they have to work a little harder to support the lumbar. Others of us are stiffer and we're like, oh, we need more length. What do you know about yourself? All right, and then we're gonna press into the blocks, move them out of the way, step to plank pose. So I know my blanket is still there. There's my, I'm in plank. Tone at the inner thighs. Abdominal organs lifting up to the front of the spine. Rib cage lifting up to the front of the shoulder blades. Throat, backs of the eyes. Let's exhale, lightly touch the knees down. Now let's shift the blanket a little forward so that the blanket's gonna go underneath the belly. As I lower myself down, I'm gonna have the blanket will be under me to support me for cobra. So that it's between my lower ribs and, you know, my pubic bone. Slide the hands back to meet the blanket. Inhale to cobra. Remembering when we were over the blocks at the beginning. Exhale, lower. Inhale, all fours. all that strength. Exhale, puppy or downward dog. Can downward dog or puppy pose with those active arms feel like a resting place? Deep breathing. Good. Great. All right. So you might take your blanket while it's right there under you and just scoot it a little closer towards where the knee is going to be in a little bit. We'll inhale deeply and exhale. Let's step the right foot forward. You're welcome to bring blocks under your hands if you like. Inhale upright. Great, beautiful. How is the breathing? Inhale the arms out. Exhale, bow forward. Lower the back knee. Right knee is forward of the right ankle. I'll take my blocks, make them taller. Pull them back. So as you lengthen through the top of the left thigh, towards the left knee, from that pubic bone to the inner hip joint, there's a little tone. You might need it, depending on your shape, to help you as you keep lifting through the heart. One more deep inhale. Exhale, press into the blocks. Take the hips back. And we're gonna lift the back knee up. So there's the lunge. Inhale, step forward. And exhale, bow. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. One more time. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale your hands back in front of your heart. And then release your arms. All right. I want us to set up for a camel pose, a version of camel. So that means I like to take 2 blocks end to end, similar to what we had at the beginning. 2 blocks end to end. I'm going to put one blanket is going to go underneath my legs in front of my blocks. So I can pad my knees. And then I'm going to put my other blanket, if you have a bolster, or another blanket, pillow. At least, it's nice to have at least 2 blankets, or a blanket and a bolster. It's nice to have a tall stack, right? Because this tall stack is gonna bring my heels up higher. So that there's my feet. Yeah. I like it when they're up really high. I'm gonna then take my hands behind me, and if my wrists let me, I'm gonna point my fingers more upward. If my wrists are okay with that, I'll point them up. All right, I'll just wait a few moments till you are ready with all your props. And then when we're ready, all right? So we're gonna do more than one. So we're not out to, like, this is it, oh my gosh. No, this isn't it. It's never really it, is it? All right, so let's inhale. And with the exhale, remembering the blocks at the beginning of class. So I'm lifting up through the top of the breastbone. Oh yeah, broad across the upper chest. I don't have to let my head go back. I can keep my head up. In fact, I'm gonna keep the back of my throat long. And then I'm gonna come back up. And I might, if it's okay with my knees, I might just sit back on my heels and just pause. And if you, I was reminding people last week maybe, or the week before, I can't remember, about the hyoid bone that's in the throat, about the level of C4. If you just drop off the back of your jaw slightly, there's a bone in there that is responsible for swallowing, speaking. It's not attached to any other bones. And what I notice in back bending is if I let this be more of the leader in regards to what's happening with my head, it cues the abdominals, it cues the support at the front of the spine, and it really helps me find more length. Let's stand above the knees again. Hands at the back of the pelvis. Inhaling deeply. Exhale. I just on the exhale, I just release a little. Inhale, I like to grow up through the front of my body. Exhale, and again, I am not letting my head just drop back there. And then we're going to come up. And we're going to rest one more time. I like to do 3. Seems to really be, they get easier. I noticed on the one I just did that when I put, my attention into what was happening through this whole part of me from the hyoid down, that whole front, that I felt myself, oh yeah, wow, I could lift my head and there was no discomfort for me in the back of my neck. If I have any sort of compression back here, I'm going to keep my chin tucked. I'm not going to let my head go back. Okay, let's take one more. Hands start at the pelvis. Inhale, fountaining up. Exhale, there may be some lengthening back. So, and Nancy Lynn, you're going to want a little tone in the psoas, right? Some tone as you go back. The hands might find the feet and they might not. And then we come up and we come back down. Great. Awesome. And we're going to come out of that. We could turn around. I'll move my blanket that I was kneeling on out of the way. And I might take my little stack I had and rotate it lengthwise to take downward dog, or you could take just child's pose. But I'm going to take downward dog and rest my forehead on my stack. Otherwise, I might be in child's pose with my knees wide apart and be draped over my stack. If you're in downward dog, lower the knees. And take a child's pose, everyone. And then we'll walk back up. And we're gonna move that stuff out of the way. And please grab what you need. We're gonna take Ardha Matsyendrasana 2. You might need a blanket or two to sit upon. And a strap, please. All right, so for this one, you'll want a loop in the strap. It's a pretty small loop. So I'm gonna take, let's go, I'm gonna sit just on one blanket because of my knees. And I'm gonna you'll bring your right foot to the left inner knee. So left leg straight, right foot to the left inner knee. If my knee is still a little off the floor, I'm gonna take one of my blankets and shore up that space. Then I'm gonna take my strap, it's gonna go around the straight leg foot. The tail of it is gonna go around the bent knee, hip. Straight leg arm reaches behind you, grabs on way over at the hip to the strap. So then your right arm, your bent knee arm is reaching towards your foot, towards your strap, and you're twisting. Some of you might be able to reach the foot itself. Some of you will be back somewhere on the strap. And then we're gonna release that. So taking the strap off of the foot, straighten your right leg, and bring the left foot. So I bring my left foot to my inner knee, not to my inner thigh. If my knees were happy in lotus pose, I'd bring this foot all the way up and come into lotus, but that isn't where my knees like. You're welcome to do that if lotus pose, half lotus, is a comfortable place. Then you're gonna bring the strap over the straight leg foot. Again, the tail goes around the opposite outer hip. Right arm reaches behind you, grabs onto that strap. Left arm reaches forward to the strap, or it might reach to the foot. You're twisting to the right toward the straight leg. One more full inhale. And then your exhale, you'll go ahead and release. You can take your strap off your foot. Great. Straighten both legs. You could take the hands and give your knees a little massage. All right. Okay, so we're gonna come onto your back. Please have, let's have a couple blankets available because Once you come onto your back, I want you to slide a couple blankets underneath your pelvis. And then let's bring arms out wide. Lift both knees toward the chest. And then with your next exhale, bring both knees toward the right elbow. Left shoulder blade stays back. You're going to use your abdominals as you exhale and bring the knees to center. Inhale in the middle. Exhale both knees toward the left elbow. Your next exhale, back to center. One more time to the right. The knees come up and over. One more time, center to the left. Center. Great. And then let's put the feet on the ground. Lift the pelvis, slide the blankets toward the feet a little. There they are, but you're going to bring the knees back to the chest one more time. Take happy baby, either with the hands at the backs of the thighs, right behind the knees, or on the holding onto the shins. Let's have the sacrum, the top of the sacrum be on the ground. Top of the sacrum on the ground. Maybe the hands are at the little toe side of the feet. And then we're going to bring feet together, knees together, legs out, Shavasana. You're welcome to have the blankets right under the legs, under the knees. As you come down to resting. It must be we are waiting for the perfect moment. It must be under all the struggle, we want to go on. It must be that deep down we are creatures getting ready for when we are needed. It must be that waiting for the listening ear or the appreciative word, for the right woman or the right man or the right one, or even the right moment just to ourselves. We are getting ready to be ready and nothing else. Like this moment just before the evening light arrives, working by the kitchen window, sensing a deep down symmetry in every blessed thing. The way that everything, unbeknownst to us, is preparing to meet us too. Just on the other side of the door, someone is about to knock, and our life is just about to change. And finally, after all these years rehearsing behind the curtain, we might just be ready to go on. And the entire world is waiting to go on at the moment. And even those happy in their protected solitudes are curious to know how this person they have been able to get to know so well again will reappear in the world, waiting to go on, the conscious and the unconscious, preparation for something we cannot fully imagine. We are all, in effect, in that ancient, inherited reconstitution of our identities that occurs in getting ready to be ready. And as you deepen your breath and you prepare your body for movement, and mindfully transition yourself to one side and take a moment and using the arms to come back up to sitting. Bringing your hands in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your practice. I will stop the recording and who knows, maybe I can figure out a way to hear from you. Let me see here.